This episode is brought to you by Gabit, the longevity ecosystem helping you live healthier and longer with smart wearables, science backed products, and expert coaching. I've been wearing the smart Gabit ring, and honestly, it has completely changed how I think about my health. It tracks all four pillars of health, including sleep, stress, fitness, and nutrition, and gives insights that actually make sense. The VO2 Max on demand, HRV, sleep stages, workout zones, stress, calories in and out, and so much more. And I love that the AI voice logging is unreal. You can literally say what you ate and it logs it instantly. It even has this AI health coach, a PEP, to help you and assist you at all times. So if you want a smarter, science backed way to optimize your health, check out Gabit.com. That's GABIT.com, and you can use my code MaryC for an additional 5% off. Now let's get back to the episode. The most vibiest, most gorgeous looking woman that has basically appeared on my podcast. That's you. Shayoon, like you're a goddess. Look what you're wearing, look how you look, just so effortlessly chic. How am I friends with you?
Hey, we're mirrors. Hello. You're the exact same.
Amazing answer.
You're looking in the mirror. Lucky you. And lucky me. Thank you, my love. You're so sweet. I love you so much. Thank you for having me. Long time coming.
Yeah,
finally.
very much long time coming.
But it needed to be in the horse.
Yeah, exactly. So you know what? Everything happens in the time it's meant to happen.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy that I'm welcoming 2026 with you.
Thank you.
And
I know you're my first one.
Yeah.
Yes, my first podcast of the year.
This is beautiful.
Yeah.
So welcome to the Be That Life experience.
Thank you.
Definitely think like you are one of the most inspirational women that I know. I'm lucky to know, to be around, to be surrounded with at all times. And, I was just at the 1 Billion Summit with you, and we spoke about some really, I heard you speak about some really cool things when it comes to health, healing, and transformation. And, we went through a really crazy year last year for a lot of people. And before I dive deep into that crazy year, because like the audience is really going to want to know more about that and how they can kind of like forget about that year. It was very challenging for a lot of people, including myself. And just step into a year of real, true abundance. But Shayoon, you are, I would say, a woman of strength, of power. You come from so much pain, but also a woman of so much grit and resilience. And like you said, we mirror each other. And just everything that you've been through, your story, it truly resonates with me because I've been through so many hardships. But look at where we are at today. Look at our lives and what we built and just everything, right? So this podcast will be a podcast about giving people that inspiration to change their lives because it's possible. You can hit rock bottom and still become something. And so before we really dive deeper into healing and transformation, if you were to tell me who you were, like who is Shayoon 15 years ago and who is Shayoon today, please tell me.
Wow. First of all, thank you so much for that beautiful intro. If you're looking for a PR job, I would love for you to represent me in anything that you do. Geez Louise. I love you. Like, what an ego boost over here. Thank you, my love. Great question. Shayoon 15 years ago would mean I was only 15 years old. Just kidding. I would say that was probably actually the best time to say that is because 15 years ago was at my awakening point where I had just come out of the car accident trauma by understanding what healing actually meant. And 15 years ago, a little bit prior to that, I had a terrible car accident. And so I was basically, long story short, subscribed and prescribed to the system. I was burning in a car upside down. After that, I woke up in the hospital. They told me I was never going to have children again. I'm never going to walk again properly. And I'm going to lose all of my, my youth to pain and drugs, basically. And I believed them, you know? And so it took a really long time for me to, and when you say rock bottom, I mean, my rock at the bottom had glass and fire and like knives sticking out. And it was literally rock bottom. And I'm like, I just lost my whole youth in this small amount of time because I have people who are healthcare providers telling me that my life is over at 18, right? And I think 15 years ago, I was also so scared to like develop any sort of other belief that wasn't in the strict system of medical, right? And then I discovered that you can actually heal yourself through emotional release. So I tried something called EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique, and it changed my life. And I realized that all of that built up pain and anxiety and fear and depression from losing, you know, volleyball scholarships to dancing. I mean, you know, I'm a artist. I do a lot of art and music, and I couldn't dance, I couldn't sing, I couldn't perform, I couldn't be an athlete, I couldn't go to the gym without pain. And then the pain became my pain body. So then that became my character. I am sick, I am depressed, I am all of that. So when I discovered that, wait, if you switch that transformational coding in your brain into forgiveness of your body and your mind and spirit, everything else will release, right? Because if you don't take care of what's emotionally bothering you, it'll turn into physical. So when I learned to take care of my emotional, I released it all and I became obsessed with healing, and they took the rod out of my back within a few weeks. I was touching my toes again and I got my youth back. So 15 years ago is actually a great number. Of course, you nailed that, where I realized that everything that I was taught needed to be unlearned. And that was my great awakening. And I became obsessed with it. And I wanted to show everybody that through health and conscious wisdom, you can heal anything.
And then 15 years
and then
later.
Now, 15 years later, I am who I am. So I'm a artist, I'm a healer, I'm a mother. They told me I couldn't walk. I'm dancing on music videos. I have new songs out. I have one of the biggest healing programs in the world. I'm a healer. I'm a motivational speaker. And I'm just really here to impact and show people that they are deserving of a life that, you know, is free from all of the old programming. And if you asked me that, to look like you just did, actually, you know, looking back, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I could have had a completely different life and still been on medication and depressed and sitting in a, you know, room in the middle of America somewhere, no offense, but like, you know, without being able to go and see the world because I didn't have any faith or any hope. And now I'm just here to spread the light, and it is a whole different Shayoon. I'm here to really just empower everybody to heal themselves, take away the guru mentality. I'm not your healer. You have the power within you to do whatever you feel and want, and you just need the tools, and you need to be shown how, and you need to be around inspirational people and people who are actually doing authentic work. And I think it's so important to realize like who I am today is really because of all of the breakdowns, because with every breakdown, there's a massive breakthrough. And if you don't, you know, I think that I had the opportunity and blessings to really be able to see the world and experience so many different things by living in every country and doing all of that, but also experiencing different people have definitely put me in the place of power right now, but power from a light state, you know, and not the ego.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you grew up in the U.S. Where in the U.S.?
So I was born in Kenya. I'm from Nairobi.
Okay.
All my family's from Nairobi because everyone's like, you're not African. I'm like, yes, I am. If you ask my parents or anybody else, we are African before we're Indian, before we're Pakistani. And then I left when I was young. I first went to England. And then, yeah, I basically grew up in the U.S. I lived in New York. I lived in Oklahoma City. And then I grew up in Los Angeles.
Amazing.
I'm an LA girl. Can you tell by my accent or no?
Yeah, I could definitely tell from your accent. Yeah. Definitely, you're a full-grown American woman.
I'm a full LA girl, full Valley girl to the core, and I love it.
That's a crazy story, by the
Yeah.
way. You know, and I've been very close to experiencing a lot of these like car accidents, and luckily, it's never gone to a point where I've been injured so severely.
Alhamdulillah.
You know, we just heard the issue with Anthony Joshua recently, and that very tragic thing that happened in
Never know.
Nigeria.
You never
right?
know.
Exactly. That's what it is, right? It just it's crazy how only those situations in the same year in January where the thing happened with the ski,
Yeah.
the ski holiday experience with that club, and Emmanuel, a 17-year-old boy who passed away from that experience, who actually happened to be living in Dubai, and his parents lived here. And so I have common friends who like knew who they were, like known him since he was 5 years old, and he's 17 when he signed a contract with some brand in Italy, and he had his whole life ahead of him. And then you hear the similar story with Anthony Joshua surviving that incident where he was meant to be sitting in the front seat, but he moved to the back seat, actually decided to sit behind the driver. So he switched places just at the very last moment, and then that happened because it could have been him. And yeah, it goes to show like life is so fragile.
Yeah.
And we think we have time, but I believe that the universe has our path written for us.
100%.
And that's why we hear or we see these like very surprising things that happen to people where they're so young and there's no real understanding as to why things could happen in that way it happened. And so looking back at that now, what are your biggest learnings from that particular car accident and that moment, and bringing you back to that feeling where you were like, my life is over? Because I know it was, you went through that transition for a while before you met your partner. He showed you the way, he helped you. What was it? What was that feeling like?
Terrible. I mean, to be told at such a young age when you're so vulnerable as well that you're never going to have a future. And my biggest dream was always to be a mom is wild. Like, I always say that too. Like, you're not God. How do you know I'm not going to have children? Like, what form of spirit is involved in this system? It's really sad, and I think I was, I'll be completely honest, so sad every day, so depressed, crying all the time. I was in so much pain that I was just like self-medicating.
Oh, wow.
And they put me on everything to take away the pain instead of sending me into a way of healing, And so that's the hamster wheel, right? They subscribed and prescribed. You're on this hamster wheel. You're addicted. You can't get off. And then during that process, you're so numb in your brain that you don't even know what your feelings are. So you're completely disassociated from even feeling. So it's numb. You're just numb. And I used to have nightmares. And like, it was so terrible. I used to have EFT on my nightmares. Like, I would get crazy nightmares. I had burn marks everywhere. My image was distorted in my brain, like people are, oh, you're still so beautiful, but like if you don't feel beautiful when you're seeing scars everywhere and burn marks everywhere, and it was terrible. It was the worst feeling.
They don't understand that we are our biggest critics. We really are.
100%.
And people don't understand what that means
Yeah.
when we say that.
Yeah.
They just think that, oh, you're just overreacting, and it's
Yeah.
just like, it's all in your head. But people don't understand that it's a real thing.
It is a real thing.
And we self-sabotage so much and so often that I'm reading all these crazy stories, and even my son, who's 22 right now, and telling me stories of people that he knows who's like 17, 18 are committing suicide, because we don't truly understand what mental health issues is until you truly experience it yourself, right? And whether you may look a certain way and be beautiful to someone else, or feel a certain way that, I think at the end of the day, like every single person in the world go through so much deep trauma and anxiety and issues that at the age of 17 and 18, when you don't have a family dynamic that isn't loving and caring, and you're raised in a family that's dysfunctional, the kid goes through some really deep pain.
Yeah.
And then they enter adult life, and then not knowing how to navigate that and continue the pain. And they say broken adults raise broken kids. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the adults are still like unaware. They don't live in a world where they feel like they need to change. They're set in their ways, and they think that's the best tools they have. They won't do anything else about it. I have friends whose parents are just so set in their ways, they never think there's anything wrong with them. They think that they're just perfect. So what my friends have to do is like they just have to step away. They need to step away from toxicity. They need to step away from dysfunction, from the way that makes them feel every day. And I don't feel like just because we are born into a family that's a dysfunctional one. We need to stay in that family dynamic. What are your thoughts on that?
Not staying in the family dynamic?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a great question. So the prerequisite to the full embodiment of your purpose is to heal first, but we are like the 1% of people that will choose to do that work, right? And like you said, broken families have broken children. And the thing is that, dysfunction comes from so much trauma that, at the Light Force Center, this is the foundation of what we teach is emotional mapping. You have to go back, if you're willing to do the work, to the very first memory you have back in your childhood, and you map out everything. The time when this happened, I felt. So for example, you would do in this family dysfunction, this is just an example. I deal with a lot of people with abuse and sexual abuse, right? The time at Christmas when my father hit me and I was 5 years old, I felt. In that sentence, you didn't only feel one thing. If you could think back to that moment in time, you could say, okay, I'm gonna close my eyes, ask my higher self. I felt unloved. I felt betrayed. I felt scared. I felt terrified. I felt shocked. And then you rank each one on a scale of 0 to 10. Where is the shock in your, what is the shock in your body right now? On a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being the worst. If you can repeat that sentence and you still feel that shock, that means that moment in time hasn't been healed. So you're carrying, say it's a 10, you're carrying shock in your body or sadness in your body from the time when you were 5 years old to now. That's showing up in your life currently as anxiety, depression, sadness, you being a certain way with your friends and family, you acting a certain way because you haven't even healed what happened to you when you're 5, right? So dysfunction comes from so many different moments in our life and moments in time that you literally have to systematically clear it. Yeah. And about the dysfunction, you cannot heal an environment that made you sick to begin with, period, right? So and especially in our cultures and in our, in society, we're taught to stay and keep quiet and, just do what the family wants and all of that. But the longer you do that, the longer you're postponing your future.
How old were you when you had that accident?
18 or 19.
And how long were you in a suffering phase?
Till 23.
Wow, that was pretty long.
It was very long and very destructive.
Right, and so obviously you were still in university at that time, and
yeah, but barely being able to have fun. So then, fun in a sense of just doing normal day activities. It was really hard for me to function, especially when I got to LA without some sort of substance.
Oh, okay. And were you always social? Did you have a large group of friends?
Yeah, I've always been like a social butterfly because my parents are very well known in our community, and we always were big community people that we were always hosting. And I grew up with so many different cultures in Africa and different places. And I think that because also this, going back to your question or your statement earlier about, you never know what happens with the universe. Since that accident, I was like, even my spirit was still like, I'm going to live every day as best as I can because I don't know if I'm going to be here tomorrow, because it does really put you in a space of, oh my God, I almost died, and I still live like that. I'm every day, let's do the most, even if I'm tired, I always show up, and I'm always a woman of my word, because I really do feel that, it is such a short time that we have here, so why not make the most of it in the best ways possible? But yeah, my suffering was long, long and hard. Yeah.
And did you have any moments?
And that was one moment in time.
Yeah, that was one.
That was one. There's a million other things that happened in between the two,
Yeah, but you managed to get through it, right? And then you met your partner, and then he showed you the way. Mm-hmm. What is the way?
The way is, first of all, you have to be willing to be able to want to heal. If there's a will, there's a way, right? If you don't want to heal, it's not going to work. If you're not ready, it's not going to work. If you're ready, you said about the breaking point. There was a point where I'm like, I have tried everything. Fine, I will do your meditations. I was not a meditator. I couldn't even sit for a minute. First of all, I couldn't even sit because my back. So it didn't occur to me. I was praying, right? Because I was raised Muslim, but it was an intentional inward prayer, as you know. So you have to do a lot of work to go in. So the first step is to agree that you and your body are gonna have a contract with your mind and your heart to release. And once you say yes to that, it just is an automatic, I think, energy within your heart, mind, and spirit that says, okay, your body can hear everything you say, right? So if I'm saying now I'm gonna heal, it's like, wait, what? You know, like all I've been saying is I'm sick, I want another pill, I need to numb myself, you know? And so when you switch, your body listens, but you have to practice the program, right? So I would have to really commit to rewiring my entire system, which was really hard. I mean, it was deep work, you know? And what he showed me, I consider surface level. But I went on my own journey after that, and I could say that I actually found my way through my exploration of different modalities. So I studied in the Amazon. I went to the jungle. I did EFT. I did neuro. I mean, everything. Level 3 Reiki. I certified in everything. I went to Harvard for nutrition. I did whatever I could just to see who's doing what. Like, I really wanted to see what they were doing in the Ivy Leagues as nutritionists. It's still the food pyramid. Like, you know what I mean? So in that time, I was like, oh my gosh, there's so much work that needs to be done with rewiring the entire system of the entire planet. And how are we going to do that? So before you want to help the planet, you need to be 100%. You need to really take care of yourself before you want to go take care of everything else. So I made sure that I was in straight alignment in what I am, what my messaging is, and whatever I'm going to deliver has to be at 100%, and it has to work. And so I really just went all in so I can understand all of it. Every book. I mean, I did everything for years. I mean, we're talking now, I'm on year 15 of Light Force Center.
Oh, amazing.
So I was doing this back in the day for a really long time. And I think that if it wasn't for my accident, I would have never been here. Yeah. And so I think God works in mysterious ways as well. And a lot of my traumas, actually, and a lot of the pain that I've been through have been a direct hit of pain and suffering, but the biggest impact of what came after it, because I turned the pain into purpose.
You know, a lot of people say that you need to want to heal. Mm-hmm. But isn't, when you're in so much pain, the direct default is to want to heal?
No, because a lot of people don't want to do the work. I have so many people that are like, I want to heal, and then you give them the tools, and then they still don't do it.
But I guess it's the same as I want to lose weight and still don't do everything to want to lose the weight, right? It's just kind of the same thing, right?
It's a like, mental shift.
Yeah,
it's definitely a mental shift.
It's like I want it, but I'm not willing to do everything.
But that's not a yes. That's still not a yes.
Yeah.
You know?
It's because
you have to show up for yourself. If you don't show up for yourself, you're going to get the same results.
But isn't human nature to just want a quick fix for everything, but then realizing that
especially
it's never a quick fix?
Especially in this day and age, everything is instant gratification. That's why I told you before, like, we are the 1%.
Yeah.
Everybody else just wants to get by, you know, slide by, do the fake stuff, Band-Aids, right? I said this in my talk yesterday. Drink all the green juice you want, go to the gym, whatever, but inner work, so I'm going to look good on the outside. I'm going to say that I'm doing all these things, but I'm not going to take care of what's inside of me. Shit's not going to work, you know?
But it's, do you see this a lot with the people that you're working with? That
no.
You don't see that?
Everyone that comes to me this is exactly what they say to me every time. I mean, I don't do my calls anymore, but when I used to, in their interviews, because I vet everybody for this purpose to see if they're really ready or not. And everyone would say, I have tried everything, and I heard about you through this, and I'm ready. And then you're like, okay, cool. Because, you know, there are people who are also, look, I don't want to toot our own horn here, but we're one of the only that have an actual beginning, middle, and end process, right? I think therapy is great. Talk therapy is great, but you can't sit on the same couch, talk about the same thing for years and years. There's a problem with that. Like, why are you still there? I don't want to see my clients after 8 hours. 2 hours once a week for 4 weeks and everything's gone is pretty cool. You know what I mean?
Very cool.
And so I'm into that kind of instant gratification. If something works and I know it's working, then let's do it, right? So usually after the first session, people are like, oh, wow. Because you don't really, in everybody else's brain, especially when you're dealing with so much trauma, in your head, obviously, you're not like, how am I going to write everything in the last however many years, 40 years, let's say they're 40, in in 8 hours.
But also we forget a lot of the things that we went through, right? Because we're blocking out that
They're
pain.
blocking it. So we have to, that's why the work that we do, we take you into deep theta. And once you start to uncover some things that you will not let your subconscious remember, you start to remember after the first and second session. And, you know, we always say actually the healing is the easy part. The mapping is where it's actually difficult because that's when you relive it, right? But the healing is the easy part because it really just takes, it's like soap on a dish, right? You put the soap on and then you're washing and washing and washing until your system recorrects itself. So like you would cut your hand, you would tend to your wound, right? You wouldn't go bleeding all over the place. But when you look at your scar, it doesn't hurt anymore. And that's what you want. You want to hear the sentence and say, I mean, I have deep, the things you couldn't even imagine. Like I have clients, the time when my dad raped me, okay? They can say that sentence to me with an actual, don't feel it anymore. And you're like, healed. And it's that powerful because it takes love and forgiveness. If you can connect to your heart, you cannot heal if you do not forgive, period, bottom line. If you can connect to love in the midst of pain, that's where the magic lies. If you can really truly forgive the other person, not because they deserve it, but because you do, you can do anything.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't want to forgive because they feel like they're giving them the power.
Yeah, but you're
it's not
actually
about
gaining
that.
your power
Yeah, and
back
it's more,
by letting it go.
Yeah.
You cannot heal if you do not forgive.
But I used to think the same way, though. I
Yeah.
used to, but then that's obviously operating from a place of pride and ego,
Yeah.
right? And we're like, why should I give them the power? Why should why should I forgive them for all the pain, for all the hurt, for all the abuse? When in reality, you're freeing yourself
Completely.
from
And
so many things. But it's not. You're right. It's not
Yeah.
about them. It's about you.
Yeah, and you know, boundaries too, right? You can forgive. You don't have to forget about it, but it doesn't need to hurt you anymore. But you also don't need to ever go back, and it'll set your boundaries and your standards so much higher. You know, it's a whole learning process. If you're really healed and you're really forgiving, you'll never let that happen to you again.
Yeah.
You'll never put yourself in the same position, and you won't attract that energy anymore because you're going to be vibrating on such a higher power that you're attracting a whole different frequency now, so you won't go back to that, I believe.
I love the topic on relationships, and you've been in one for a really long time, right? So how long have you been with your partner?
Since I was 23.
And how many years is that?
And I told you I'm 30. I don't know why you keep asking me. No, I'm happily 30 fine.
Okay.
Not 39, 30 fine.
30 fine. Okay. Yeah, okay. So that's a really long
13
time.
years.
And
15, it'll be 15 years
Yeah.
in April.
And in a world where we live in, relationships not being the core of anyone's life anymore. It's not the foundation. You're using swipe like, swipe left, and the moment things get hard, you leave. It's never like I want to kind of do the work.
Yeah.
Do you think the reason why you and your partner have been together for so long is also because you have gone through a healing journey
Yeah.
together, and that you have created this platform that also keeps you guys mindful of how to live better within yourselves and together as a partnership? Because people struggle in relationships. I know I have. And so, yeah, I just want to give people what's the core messaging and how to, keep a union together, right? In a world that's so difficult to keep it together.
I think what's really important to understand about that is like, I also have a very different, it was written differently for me. Like, I know that I was put here with him to create something massive for the planet, And I think that, while everybody doesn't have that opportunity, and when you're in the same field as well, it is 10 million times harder to work together, right? And
Yep.
so that in itself is challenging, right? But when you have, listen, and I always say he's not really a human. He is like a very spirit centered. He's from a different planet. He lives up here. He lives with God constantly in everything that he does. And so he was already on that path. So like he grew up like that, and his family was in martial arts and into healing growing up. So he grew up witnessing that. And I knew that I wanted my kids to grow up in that environment. So I basically grew up with him. So watching that, naturally, you would want to become that, right? And there was never any, I think the first and foremost is respect. I think second of all is you have to have such a deep level of trust within your union that it doesn't matter what is going on around you. You always know where the center is, and so I think deep appreciation for all the men that are doing the work, because if you're leading by example like that, then your woman feels safe, and if your woman feels safe, then that will absolutely make your relationship a million times stronger. I think a lot of women don't have safety, and they're always questioning, and there's always this temptation or that and that. If a man can show up and fully make you feel like you're the only person on this planet, then you're not going to be worried about anything.
Yeah.
And that's what, like, that's just, I think, the main thing. And I think another thing is, like, when you work for God and when that's what you're here for, it's a whole different kind of relationship. His mission is very different than most people. And I think that's a really cool question, though. But it's so different when you're actually working and learning from somebody who is that archetype, because there's no room for anything else. Everything in our household, everything. I mean, we have a farm. You think I'm so cool, but I don't even, my hair is out to here. I have an afro every day. I'm curly hair, no shoes. Sometimes I get to the gym, I'm like, shit, I forgot my shoes, because I'm barefoot and I live in Africa. I actually live in Africa. I'm eating off of my land. I grow my own food. I have 13 chickens and 10 rabbits. I have 2 beautiful boys we don't even own a TV. I've never owned a TV since I was in college. My kids don't even know what watching stuff is, unless it's like a really conscious thing, maybe once a week, if even that. And so I think because he also taught me, like, he grew up on a farm, and so he just knew everything about the world in a grounded way, right? And so that inspired me, because I want my kids to be that person, and I think that it's the most important thing to really understand is if you can find a partner who is grounded within the earth and actually lives by that motto, and you can balance, right? Because you see me like this, but I feel like I morph into different things so I can relate with other people. But when I'm relating with other people, I'm talking about this. I'm not talking about, what bag I'm wearing or what all that, get ready with me today crap, sorry, but I'm sorry, but I'm just real about it. It's like, why are we promoting all this? It's ridiculous at some point. So I think that it's really important to find somebody and be with somebody who values your beliefs as strongly, if not stronger.
I think what I took from that was very beautiful.
My rant, sorry.
I took from that was very, very beautiful, because I believe that every woman in the world deserves a man who has done the work. But it's not the majority, unfortunately. It's the minority. So what you have and what you built is really, like, beautiful, because it's like the 1% of men in the world today. It's not a huge amount of men out there who live like that, who are not superficial, who don't believe in the less fancier thing. And I love that for you. I'm so happy that you experienced that at such a young age. You didn't have to go through what so many women go through, because
Right.
you met a man who's grown up like that.
Yeah.
It just shows, like, upbringing is super important. That's one lesson.
100%.
And another lesson is that he grows up and he knows how to treat a woman, because he knows who he is, what he values. And that's why I believe, like, every single parent out there, because I'm a parent too, and I went through some deep trauma growing up. So in his first years of living, of me raising him, I took that on him. He was raised with the trauma that I was harboring. And obviously, I'm so thankful and so blessed that he grew up to be this most incredible human being, heart-centered, loving, humble,
How old is
understands.
he?
He's 22.
You have a 22-year-old?
I do.
You look like you're 22.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
I'm very serious, girl.
Wow, God bless
Yeah.
you.
So, going through all of that and experiencing that and seeing that right now, and he wasn't raised with a father, so going through the ins and outs of court battles and seeing like his dad isn't really the best role model to becoming the man he is today from like a very mature standpoint. I'm like,
proud.
damn, I'm so proud of what I've done and who I've raised.
I know.
So really at the end of the day, like what are we on earth, what are we put on earth for? If it isn't to, be great human beings, create an impact in the world, but also become like great mothers, bring up the next generation to be better people. Because even though we weren't raised that way, I don't want to raise a broken child. I was broken. I did my own work and my own healing. And then I decided I wanted to raise a great child because I don't want to continue the generational curse. I want to break that with me. It ends with me, right? It ends with me. And so I feel like you are blessed with such a great life, and sure, without, we've all experienced these challenges, sure they are, in motherhood, and being a wife and being a friend, a best friend, because partnership is about that, right? Being each other's best friend.
Yeah.
And sure, you have that.
Friendship is what
it's the key. It's the key.
You have to be homies.
Yeah, you have to be homies.
Ride or dies. You have to be homies, or shit's not gonna work.
Yeah.
Yeah, on everything.
Yeah, but people can have arguments, they can have disagreements, but at the end of the day, you gotta realize you're still homies.
Always, especially when they're the fathers to your children, and
Yeah.
I think it's also really important to I wanted to note this because even though, he is who he is, he went through deep traumas as well as a child. But I think the coolest thing is that I think helps save so many kids and families is your environment. Like, you have to be in some sort of nature if you can be, if you have the choice, and like you can really do a lot of 0 to 7 is the most pivotal times for their brains and their learning, right? And so as much as you guys can get out into nature, as much as even for you, if you don't have a kid yet and you're listening to this, for your own personal development and with your partner, go somewhere just remote, and turn off, and really that's I think also the greatest way to know if somebody is for you. Go to the mountains, take a tent, and see what's up.
Really, just you and the guy?
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
And see what happens.
Yeah.
And I say this to my kids too.
Yeah.
And with anybody
Like,
else,
rough
my
it
friends
out.
that are dating, I'm like, if your man doesn't know how to make a fire, you have a big problem. My 4-year-old can start a fire and live off of the land if he needed to.
Yeah, but you live in a really cool place.
No,
We
it's
live in a really cool country.
It doesn't matter. We're in Dubai. I can guarantee you more than half of the population here doesn't know how to start
Not
a
true.
fire.
100%.
You know what I mean?
But you grow up differently here, and you're like in a big city life, and you're not really
but I'm
surrounded
just
with so
saying
much.
It's not even about where your location is. It's about survival. Like, people survive on think that they need everything else. You got to go back to the basics. If you don't know how to do the basic stuff, then it really shows you how you'll be taken care of. I can guarantee you that. It will really show you how somebody is going to be able to show up for you later. If you're in a remote place, even if you're fine, don't get a tent, but in a cabin, like, what you do and how you spend your time and where you can ground in and sit is just, it's really a really powerful tool. Even with you go on all those beautiful hikes and stuff, there's only a few people that would do that with you, right?
Very true.
Right. So
Very true.
So
Not
why
everyone
wouldn't
has that same
right.
personality.
The first thing I ever did on a date, after Alexander was stalking me for so long, is he thought I was going to be this bougie girl and take him to some fancy restaurant. I took him to the mountains in Malibu on a hike to a Jim Morrison cave just to see if he would be down for that. Because if you're not down for that, then we're not going on a date. And I said, I'm going to pick, because you have to be able to understand quickly and within a few minutes, even for your friends, who is actually here for the right reasons. And connection is huge, but if you're not connected to nature and the earth, then I honestly don't even have interest in hanging out with anybody that's not.
Yeah. And I think for me as well, like I grew up in a big city and I crave nature so much more.
Yeah.
And I don't know how people can live
Me
in a big
too.
city and not crave it.
Yeah.
Or not want it, or not
Yeah.
even want to experience going out of town for like an hour, 2 hours, and just go. And like every weekend, like I just want to do that.
People
like
are
my
so
body
worried.
craves it and wants to.
Yeah,
I feel
have
at peace.
to. I told you just
You
now,
know?
you're like, I went to paddle. I'm like, oh my God, I need to go to the gym. It's been 2 days. And not just gym, just movement in general. But like, I think people have gotten so used to like, it's so bizarre to me that people are like, oh, it's dirty, or oh, like I could never go camping,
Yeah.
and like I
Oh
don't
my
have
God.
like a,
I don't
and I'm just like,
Like you're not my person.
no,
You're just not my person.
It is so unattractive to me. So
Absolutely.
unattractive.
Not
to
just
me.
in like partners and friends.
Eating
I don't
with-
have those type of friends. I don't want to be around people who don't want to experience life the way I experience
100%.
life.
We gotta get down and dirty. I mean, even with
Yeah.
food, like eat with your hands. Like
Yeah, totally.
people are so stuck on this like perception of perfection that it's causing them to have a really drop in their spirit, because they just can't even connect, because they're not even connected with their selves, right?
So take me a little bit through just an example of your program, because you
Yeah,
said 4
of
weeks,
course, I'd
right?
love
And
to.
people are like, it's impossible. I can change my life in 4 weeks.
Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
It takes so much longer, and like you said, people have been in therapy for years and haven't really felt a massive difference, or they have, but still go back to their old ways. Like I know
Yeah.
people who've been, alcohol rehab and like drug addiction and so many different things, but they still relapse and go back. Same with smoking and vaping and so many of these things, right?
Yeah.
So it goes to a lot of your like core wounds. And Vishen said this a lot yesterday when he was speaking at the 1 Billion Summit, and he said, he spoke about a topic called visibility wound. And it isn't just about your visibility wound like you have like on social media, because a lot of people are camera shy and don't want to be seen. But is it about that though? It goes deeper than just, I don't want to be seen. But there's a reason why you don't want to be seen. Is it coming from shame, guilt, fear? What is it, right?
Yeah.
So just run through as to like, how does this process work actually?
Okay, so the pillars of healing, we already spoke about, just even saying yes, yeah? The key difference between what we do at the Light Force Center and what Light Force Healing is and with everyone else is the map, right? So you go through every single emotional ailment that you have, right? So we have an Excel sheet. It's not fun, but you can see everything. It is your map. It's your roadmap. With everything that goes on the sheet will come out of your body, and you will no longer be suffering from it if you do the work. Okay, so you have a list called emotions, your emotional wounds: anxiety, fear, depression, disassociation, loneliness, whatever. There's people that have hundreds, and they're still living with each one because they're numbers, like I told you, 0 to 10. Where's your anxiety at? So you close your eyes, and every week you can see how your numbers drop just because you've removed one root from your map, okay? You then put down all of your physical ailments. Do you have headaches, IBS? Most people with IBS have had severe trauma in their childhood or sexually. Cancers, autoimmune diseases, whatever it is that you're suffering from, you also list that, and then you rank it as well. And then the map, we do mother, father, ex-boyfriend, dog, whatever you have trauma from needs to go on that map, even if it's from the child on the playground that stole your ball and you're still pissed about it, like whatever it is. You never know the little micro moment, and it might be micro on a sheet, but the biggest thing to you. And that it could have happened when you were 4, or it could have happened yesterday. But if you don't clear it, it's going to stay there, and then it'll show up in like everything else, right? So the program works like that. First 4 weeks are always healing. You cannot go onto your purpose when you're holding on so much pain. It's not going to work, because you're going to get wounded results. And if you're a wounded person trying to live in your purpose, it's doing a disservice, And so the other 4 weeks are your purpose. So after you've completely healed and recorrected your body and you're feeling great, you go on to, why am I really here? What's your mission? What's your vision? What's your purpose? How do I get there? And most people are like, wait, I've never lived without any pain before. So like, what do I do? Right? Like, and that's the greatest part, because we never want to leave anybody just healed, because a lot of people haven't lived without pain. I didn't even know what that was either, you know? And so, like I was telling you earlier, if you can connect to your heart in the midst of pain, and you could sit down and do this, it's when my kids do it. Mom, this happened to me, and I have fear. Okay, where is it? It's in my stomach. Okay, what color is it? Identify. It's red. Okay, we'll do a breathing exercise, and he'll breathe it out until it's from a 10 to a 0. Thank you, Mama. And then he goes and teaches his friend. So he doesn't even have to come to me if he has issues. You know, it's the same thing for adults. I always say, don't let anything sit. If you have an argument with your friend or colleague or whatever during the day, do not let anything sit in your system for more than 24 hours. Sit down and clear it. After you've calmed, you sit and you clear it, and you're just constantly clearing. And not to say things don't come up in your daily life, but where I'm talking about the past to now. If you can clear everything from your past to now, then you have a chance at really surviving this earth in a purposeful, impactful way. And then so when you're done with your healing and you go into your purpose, you have a roadmap, because we really need to see where we're going. So it's planned. How do I get to my vision? What is my purpose? It's character alignment. It's 100-word exercises, like all of these things. And you really identify, okay, who is Mary? And you have the most perfect sentence, because then you truly know who you are when the pain is removed, right? And then you live like that. And it's so beautiful. And, you know, Mary, I'm in I can't even name how many people now, thousands and thousands and thousands of people, right? And it's something that I want to take to schools. I have been. Actually, I teach in the slums this to 4-year-olds and 5-year-olds who have been raped before they were 4. I mean, wow. We can really clear whatever we want to clear, you know? And our deepest traumas, like they're, you know, some people tell me, well, I feel bad for even feeling bad, because I know that, you know, somebody's gone through worse for me. You cannot compare your trauma to somebody else's trauma, even though it sounds more, yours is still as valid, you know? And I think that the visibility thing is, of course, people are walking around with masks on every day. You never know what someone's going through, right? At all. Like, I could look like this and still be like really upset about something, you know? And so I think that, like I was saying yesterday in my speech on stage too, like you have to be so authentic and truthful about where you're at, because I don't know about you, I don't want to listen to a fake story or talk to somebody who is unwilling to take their mask off, you know? And that's why we're here, you and I and everybody else that's doing this beautiful work for everybody else, is to inspire everyone to say, hey, you can do it too, I did it. And you know, I think what the coolest thing about me is that I've actually been through so much relatable trauma that it's not just like, oh, you know, I'm a healer. It's because I have gone through, I have seen, you know, the depths of hell. And I think that, you know, the difference between religion and spirituality is that, like, you know, to be this deep in spirit is because you've already visited hell. And wow. And I think that religion is just getting you to heaven. But I've already been down there. So I'm going to live the heaven here in the best way possible. Do you know what I mean?
That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Do you feel like after the 4 weeks, people like have a relapse, or is like a full-on integration after that into their lives? Like, how are people truly transformed? It's very different when you have healed all your past and then go through something traumatic like a death.
Yeah.
So are you following the same 4 weeks protocol again? It's just a protocol that you have to keep following throughout life, because that helps you
100%. So it's just like diet. We're not on diets; it's our lifestyle. Yeah. We actually live
this integration every day. Is a lifestyle.
Yeah, and honestly, the coolest thing. That's a great question, because death is really important. The things and the tools and the ways that we teach you through quantum healing, hypnosis, and everything else is that when you are at a state after you've done light force, you're able to take on the worst of the worst with the most beautiful energy, and you can actually connect more to your ancestors and the people that have passed with a lot of the guided meditations and stuff that we do. Because like I told you, I want you to learn how to heal yourself. I don't want to show up every time to show you how to do it. You do it. It's like ride your bike. I can't ride your bike for you, right? You're on 2 wheels now, go. Yeah. And so the commitment to the practice, right? Anyone can do it. And so we've had so many people who have people pass, and they're like, I can connect even more now because I
Wow.
understand death. And not just death, I understand life now. I understand my past better now. I understand who I really am. And like I said to you before, of course, things are going to come up as really tragic events in life every day. I mean, like earlier, you're like, your story's so cool. I'm like, which one? I've had 48 today, you know, because I thought you were actually talking about like what story today. You're talking about my life, right? But like how we are, how we work.
Yeah.
It's so hectic, and I hear crazy things as my profession all day, every day, you know, like one person's telling me that, you know, there's rape here, there's abuse here, there's, you know, the shittiest things, right? And everyone's greatest question, how do you take that on without taking it on yourself and like feeling bad about it? And it's really just about that discipline. You got to put that light bubble around you, and no negative energy can come in. It just bounces off, and you just relate to the situation as a subject matter, and you don't take any of that stuff on for yourself because it has nothing to do with you. Like, you know, for example, people always, like in our culture, used to say, finish that food because children in the world don't have food.
Oh my gosh.
Okay?
I think like the whole world grew
And
up
you're
like
like,
that.
that has nothing to do with me.
I grew up that
I
way
understand
too.
that.
grew
I
up
understand what you're saying, and I understand your intention. But we have to start. That
like
is
every single person in the
cannot
world is starving. Finish your
finish
food.
your food. It's no,
like-
and that's what it is. It's those switching those things that we've grown up with, right? Same thing. It's like you can't let anything else bother you. You're gonna have this armor shield of gold. Like it becomes that way of life. It becomes who you are. And that's why you're like, everyone's always like, you're such a light. I'm like, because I don't let all this other stuff in. And you have to be the gatekeeper of your light. You have to say, this is just how I am, right?
Yeah.
And it's really beautiful to watch everybody transform and to heal. And, you know,
agree.
legally, I cannot say cure or do any of those things. But testimony is testimony. And the relapse thing, I'll tell you, is I've definitely seen relapse. But it's not because of the program. It's because of the lack of okay, when you go to the gym and you have abs, and then you don't go to the gym anymore and you don't have abs,
Yeah, because
whose
you're
fault
not
is it?
integrating the practice
Whose
anymore.
fault is it?
Got
Right?
it. Yeah, right.
Right? So
Yeah.
it's
I think
just
it's,
really about, you have to work on your lifestyle just as soon as you get it, you can't just be like, okay, I've got it now, I'm going to just figure it
Yeah.
out. But I think also there's a great deal of people who can then understand the difference between, especially when it comes to health and being sick or being, you know, really disciplined. I think discipline is number one with everything, and it's a mentality as well, right?
Totally.
Like it's a non-negotiable for you and I, right? We are functioning athletes, and
Exactly,
you know,
exactly.
it's just non-negotiable. And just like some people they cannot stop working. Like it's like, you know, but I think when you really understand the difference between taking care of yourself and taking that time for yourself, it's a non-negotiable. Like I was saying yesterday, it's non-negotiable. I cannot, if I miss a prayer or a activation in the morning, I'm like that monk on the street that's like, you know, because I'm human, believe it or not, you know.
Yeah.
But you have to, especially in this high-paced life, you have to sit down and take care of yourself. It's just at this point, we have so much to do in the world, like,
Yeah.
and you can't be your greatest, most beautiful self if you're not feeling good.
I love that. It's a huge takeaway there that if you're not doing the daily integration, it's never going to be the best life. It's the same as the gym. It's the same with the inner work.
Yeah.
You just have to do the work.
Yeah, like
every
when
single day.
when I can, like, when people are like, you're solid, that's like the best compliment for me, because I'm not semi-solid. I'm not like Monday through Wednesday maybe I'll meditate, you know. It's like,
But meditation
solid.
is really hard for a lot of people.
It is, but it's also, so is, you know, basketball.
Yeah.
But like,
Totally.
it's just practice.
I mean, when you put it that way, you know.
It's really not that hard. That's what I'm saying, is it's only the distance where you are now and where you want to go is only as great as you think it to be.
Yeah, right.
So just sit down and
suck it up
practice.
and
Just, I can't, you know, it's like, just sit, bro, sit down,
and do
girl. Like, and that's the thing though, and the beautiful part about it is, you know, bless everyone's heart, is they don't know how, because they're also very afraid, and fear is the number one thing that doesn't, people don't want to look inside.
No.
It's more heavier for them to deal with that than to just put the mask on and smile.
Yeah.
Everything's fine,
So true.
you know?
So true.
But what I want to say to that is it's easier to do something that actually works and clear it out. And it doesn't have to be life force. Just do self-work, whatever you feel comfortable with, you know? But if you choose that path and you do it now, and you can contribute to the new earth, then please, I beg everybody, male, female, like everyone, just do the work, because it'll make our world so much better. It'll make our children, it'll make our environment, it'll make our futures, it'll make our, our
Relationships with
with
others.
everyone, And so, I know it's hard, and I know it can be hard, but just do it,
In Greek mythology, there is so many gods, right? But Prometheus, he gave humans fire. And he decided to give humans fire because he wanted to give them a bit of power, some knowledge, independence. But then the other gods actually...
He wanted them to make a campfire and show them how to live.
The other gods, including Zeus,
Yeah.
they were like afraid that by doing that, it would make humans too free. All right? So then Zeus actually created the first woman and called her Pandora. And then what he did is he gave Pandora a box. And
open Pandora's box. Go all in, girl.
And
open it.
And he told Pandora actually not to open that box.
Yeah.
Right? But because people are curious, and I mean, if we're not curious, we don't evolve. It's just human nature to want to open the box because you're curious.
Yeah.
She opens the box. However, what she found when she opened that box was pain, suffering, disease, grief, fear. And by the time that freaked her out, so she closed the box. But it was too late though, right? Because when she opened that box and it all was released into the world. So then the world received all of this
Pandora's box.
negative things. However, when she looked at the very bottom, there was still one thing that was left in that box. The one thing that was left in that box, it was hope. And that didn't escape though. So what that particular story teaches us is that although we have all of this suffering in this world, there's still hope for transformation, for resilience, for grit, for healing, for deep healing. And I bring up that story and that particular Greek concept because I want to talk now about the year of the snake. And that was a very, very challenging year for a lot of people, including myself, maybe yourself as well. And for many people in my circle, you scroll through social media all the time, and every second post, it's about the year of the snake. It's about people's challenges and trials and tribulations, and wow, they can't wait for this year to end so that the new year begins. And I'm going to read for you just a little bit of a line of that concept of the year of the snake, because I thought it was a really cool perception on what that was, for us to really understand what that phase meant, right? So it's shedding, detoxing, truth endings, and it represents letting go, identity death, nervous system recalibration, trauma surfacing, relationships breaking, illusions dissolving. And this is the phase where your body says no more, your gut becomes inflamed, your sleep changes, your emotions come up, your old life stop fitting, and not because you're failing, but because your systems is preparing for that upgrade. And it clears space, and it takes you from what you were stuck in, old patterns, old ways of thinking, old beliefs, old people in your lives, to now a completely different identity shift, right? Because there's this whole 9-year cycle that is now resetting, and we're moving into a place of becoming. And that's where we're at with the year of the horse. Now, I know that a lot of people listening will think that life is always about a different method. But people are tired of methods. They're tired of fixes. What is it for you, like in terms of the shedding and the moving forward to where we're at today? You can talk a little bit of what your experiences were with the year of the snake, and then moving in towards where we are at today in because the year of the horse actually starts in February, right? And what does that mean for a lot of people?
Wow, I love everything you said. I actually experienced all of it, and we personally have shared a lot of amazing stories together about that. I think I know maybe one or two of my friends who didn't experience that, and who are just angels, and nothing happens to them. And
God bless their
God
souls.
bless you guys. I mean, can I take your program?
Exactly.
But I think that 2025 was probably in the top of my craziest years.
Mine too.
100,000,000%. Don't even know what that was, why. I mean, I work for you, God. Like, can I get a VIP pass maybe next year? I mean, geez, it was wild, right? So, Happy New Year, thank God. No, I fully agree. Like, okay, so listen. In ancient wisdom in the Amazon, right? The snake is not, it's looked upon as a very sacred, beautiful creature. Everyone talks about the shedding, but they don't talk about what happens after the shedding. In still the snake, right? What happens when you shed as a snake, you come back into a full power big mode of the new serpent. And the serpent energy is for your spine. And your spine is the direction of your kundalini. And your kundalini is the direction of all of the spirit. And it's a big circle, right? You can look at it that way. Or you have people like who call people snakes. They're like, oh, this person is a snake, right? Yeah. There's so many different definitions of the serpent, but serpent energy is actually the most beautiful, and it shows you in terms of, I think, of any animal, how the transformation can actually happen and what it is for. So everything that you named is so important, because if you and I didn't have 2025, we wouldn't be who we were today. And I think I'm 20 million times more stronger, and my venom is on point right now. So, like, let's go. You know, I think I'm half horse, half snake at this point, and I'm waiting for February. No, but literally, my biggest takeaways and the things that I learned, right? I am here to help as many people as I can. I was doing a lot of that without boundaries. And I was doing a lot of that because I have a huge heart, and in my culture, it's just what you do. Also, I didn't listen. This is huge because I do make mistakes, believe it or not. I didn't listen to my intuition on a few big things that you also know about. And even if there is 1 ounce of a doubt in your intuition, please, guys, It is a no. It's absolutely a no. And there is a difference between discernment, and there's a difference between wanting to help somebody, but you have to be able to categorize it. But if you don't learn, you know, who, what, where, and why people should be around your energy and should be even allowed to slither in there a little bit, you're going to have a hard time. And so I think for me, the year of the snake was about removing old relationships, removing toxic patterns within those relationships, and just being able to say the power of no. Like, I am not going to take this anymore. I'm not going to be around this anymore. And I'm not going to let everyone have access to me. And I'm not going to let everyone have access to all of the ancient wisdom and the work that I've done, and try to give that away to somebody else in a teaching format without the same amount of time that I've been able to do it, which is, I think, really big. Because in my world, in order to grow at this point, I've been really working on training other people to do the modality, right? But no one can do what I do. No one can do what you do, right? And that's a big thing for business owners and entrepreneurs, because they're like, I should just do it myself. Like, I can't, nobody's going to be able to do this, right? So trust is huge. And I think that the year of the snake really showed me, like, you have to honor the ancient wisdom. You have to honor the work so deeply, especially if you have actually done it through, you know, blood, sweat, and tears, right? And the snake also shows you that no matter how far your skin, no matter how tough your skin is, right? We all say, you've heard that, she has really thick skin. Even though you have really thick skin, you have to shed. You have to let go. You have to clear it out. You have to clear out your closet. You have to clear out your friends. You have to clear out your inbox. You have to clear out change your phone number. Like, I can't stress the importance of how important it is access is huge. The second you let somebody into your circle and into your vibe and into your family and into your light, and they're not meeting you or a situation at that level, it's time to shed, you know? And I think that consistently for 12 months, I went through the depths of it with business and friends and family and just situations that were just so wild and out there that I was like, what is that? I was just like retrograde for like what felt like 1,000 years. And I don't think that the snake was anything more than the greatest blessing of my life, because it always ends, and that's what I said at the beginning, the breakthroughs come and you're like, what was I even thinking? And it's also lifting the veil more, right? The shedding, it's like also the veil. When you can sit and just for a second, because you know when you're in that fight or flight, you're like always expecting something bad to happen. And when you're doing the work that I do, which is like going into the slums and helping children, or like I'm filming a documentary in Australia right now for child sexual abuse, and you're listening and you're sitting with these women who have been like, just women and men, your psyche is like tired because you're like, how can this happen to people, and how are you? But when you really realize that it's all for the greater good, and that there is an end to it, and there's gonna be, you have to believe in astrology and the higher power if we're talking about this, right? But when is it gonna happen? So you're always in this flight or flight mode, and you're like, wait, oh, the year of the snake just ended, and I'm kind of, is everything, I'm fine? That's weird. There's no drama today? Like, hello, God, I didn't receive my drama today. Like, I don't know if you stopped my channel, or like, I'm still here, where's the radio? You know, like, hello, and it's weird to feel good. And you're like, okay, well, I can get with this, right? And I'm like, where is my saddle? I'm ready, I'm going this way, right? But and the year of the horse that's coming is really all about one more thing about that is the grounding that it forced you to take. Like, you had to just get on your knees in 2025 and accept it, release it, and let it go, or you're going to stay there, I think, you know? And I think acceptance is key, like we always say. So I was just so actually grateful at the end, because I was like, wow, if it wasn't for all of these lessons and all these moments and all these traumas, I'd still be in a lower place, a vibration, right? So I'm really excited to get on this horse. The year of the saddle, horses are my spirit animal as well.
Oh, amazing.
I am obsessed with horses. I'm obsessed with snakes too, for different reasons. But, you know, the horse is such a beautiful energy and clean. And just, I really think that it's go time now, not just for me and my personal goals and career, but for the earth. Like, we have to get on, and we have to go, and we have to do something really amazing, and we have to help. Like I always say, what are we here for if we're not here to help one another? What are we doing? What is our impact? Where are we going to make the differences, and how can we impact as many people and lives as possible? And getting on that horse just makes me feel free and wild again. And I'm a wild, free spirit, you know, and that's what I am. And it's also a celebration of being able to like recover from so much that you're just like, okay, I'm back, and I can be on land on an animal and just go. And I feel like that.
You know what I love the most about what you just said, though, is that you completely flipped that narrative. Mm-hmm. And it's the same for me, because in the beginning of those challenges, it was so hard to deal with.
Yeah.
The coping, the drama that came from that, the pain, the fear, the unknown, all of those things. And while you were talking, I was going back through all of the things that I was experiencing last year. And I was having a lot of those flashbacks, and I got goosebumps. I started having feelings about it, and it was a lot of those things at the moment felt like unfair.
Yeah, and betrayal. There was a lot of betrayal.
I didn't feel like I deserved that.
Yeah,
and I didn't feel
we
like
don't.
Yeah,
we don't. But it happens.
Yeah,
you know?
and I felt like, is this the test? Was this something
Always.
that I needed to happen to me?
Yeah.
So that I could experience my higher calling, my higher being. But goddamn, that was painful.
Babe.
Like, so
Oh my God, I was like, Can I make a phone call to a friend, God? Is there a lifeline here that I can use?
I mean, I needed all the lifeline I could possibly get, but let's just say that we gotta really be proud of ourselves for the way we've handled that
1,000,000%.
situation
1,000,000%.
with as much grace
Oof.
and self-respect, compassion, integrity, that a lot of people would not have handled it that way and situations.
I always said to a lot of friends, I think I said it to you on the phone too, I'm like, if I wasn't who I am, I would have been like the 15 years ago girl, you know?
Same here.
And so that's why it's even more important to do the work, because you can handle situations way differently.
Yeah.
But even I was like,
it was hard. But on
throw
the
me
flip
the life
side,
raft, please.
on the flip side of that though is the blessing that came out of it.
Oh
Like,
my
we
gosh,
have
so happy.
accelerated so much more
Oh my God.
in our lives that I would have never imagined it came through that.
No,
You
right?
know? So girl,
Right.
like where are you? Where am I? What have we
Yeah.
accomplished last year was way bigger than that pain that we experienced.
1,000,000%.
So honestly,
What we've
I'm
accomplished in the last 11, today's 11 days has been already like the biggest blessing.
Like honestly,
100
like I'm
million%.
just so
Grateful.
I'm so happy it happened.
So grateful.
So even though
Same.
we can't understand it at the time, there's always a reason why those things happen to us, because we needed that to take us to, like what my friend would say to me, take us to the next level. Mm-hmm. And that person or that thing was just a bridge to the next level.
I always say we're in a video game, and now I feel like player one landed. I'm here now.
Totally.
Like I just came back to ground, because before I was in the sea drowning and nobody was sending me a life raft. Right?
100%.
Yeah.
What does freedom mean to you?
Oof. I am obsessed with this word. Can I just tell you that I am like, first of all, I'm a hawk. I'm a bird. It's my Light Force logo. Wings to me and feathers and freedom is just in a form of a bird to me and shape. I feel like true freedom comes from actually knowing who you really are and living by it. I'm free because I don't have to prove myself to anybody. I couldn't give a fuck what anybody thought about me. Sorry, I don't know if I can curse on here or not, but guess what? I don't care. I'm going to do it anyway. Freedom to me means to be so grounded in who you truly are that you can do, say, be, feel, eat, dress, however you want, with so much love and so much confidence that I can make my own decisions, that I don't need to go to anybody to ask permission for anything. I can literally provide so much wealth and knowledge and love that fills me up to the top, that I have so much. I've done so much work in my career that I have the capacity of freedom to be with my children or choose my days and choose how to live and choose where to go. I have so much freedom in my spirit that I have the capacity to give it. I have so much freedom in where I choose to live, how I want to live. And honestly, freedom to me is just the highest form of being closest to God.
Shayoon, you are literally the most incredible woman. I love you so much.
Love you so
Thank
much.
you so much for
God.
being on this podcast.
That
and
was a big vibe.
The wealth of knowledge and inspiration that you have now said, and which will help so many people out there. Like for me, you're like mind-blowing inspiring.
I love you. Same,
so
babe.
I wish you all the best in life, and thank you. Thank you for
everything.
existing, girl.
Thank you for and thank you for all the work that you're doing too. It's really important to recognize that it's so beautiful to see such strong, powerful women doing the work, and to provide everybody with this is the greatest gift that we could be giving humanity.
Talking about gifts, I wanted to gift you with something.
No.
Don't we just love gifts? I mean, we're the gift.
I was just going to say it. Why are you taking my line?
Because we're mirrors, girl. We're mirrors.
You're my present.
But I actually wanted to gift you with a physical gift. And
is it a hug?
I see. Yeah, I'd love to give you a hug. But I also want to give you. I see that you love accessories.
Yeah.
I want to add to that pile of accessories.
I got to adorn the queen's.
I got to totally give you a ring. But it isn't just any ring. It's definitely a ring of like
light, fire,
forever, unconditional love and friendship.
Are you proposing to me?
Yes. Yeah, actually, it's a proposal of great health.
Oh,
that's what I'm giving you right now.
What is it?
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
You hid it under your table this whole time.
I did. So, are you ready?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna gift you with a wearable, which is called a Gabbett Smart Ring.
I've always wanted one.
No,
babe, I've always wanted one because I
my-
heard that they're actually the most healthiest too, and I
they're
was not
they're
into
the best. They're the babe.
Babe.
So I'm gonna gift you with a Gabbett. That's what it looks like. Just to
You're so kind. That is so sweet.
yeah,
Thank you so much.
I want to gift you with a gift of health this year. And
should I cry now or later?
No, please cry later. So I'm gonna gift you this. I hope that you use it to track your health, your sleep, your stress levels, your heart rate levels, and
It does all of that?
and yeah, nutrition too. It calculates nutrition.
That's
too.
the only one that does the nutrition.
Yeah, it is the only one that does. How did you know that?
Because I'm telling you, I'm you know me, I'm obsessed with like
You
I
are.
can't wear anything that's
Yeah,
I don't
it's
do
true.
headphones, any of that. But that's the only one that's like.
Yeah. So I'm gonna gift you with a. Right now.
Look at this.
Yeah, it's beautiful, right?
See, it's still Christmas. Babe,
But
that
girl,
is so kind. Thank you so much.
For
Oh my
friends,
God.
Christmas never ends. Okay.
Oh, my
Just
friends are
letting
going to
you
be so jealous. I'm going to be the coolest girl in Nairobi.
know. You are going to be amazing. You're going to be amazing.
The future wrapped around your finger.
Yeah. Right. I
We
mean,
got
girl.
I'm gonna look at this and like smile every day and think of you. Thank you. That's a gift of health. Like
Yeah. It's a no-brainer,
you.
babe. It's a no-brainer.
I love you so much. Well, I would like to give you a gift as well.
Oh.
And I would like to give your audience a gift as
Oh.
well. So everyone that's listening to this, I would love to gift you all access to my app as a free gift and all of the self-healing tools with like that you can literally sit down and do the whole thing as a gift for me by yourself if you want, or there's other healers on there, but anybody that's listening, you can have the link and we'll call it Mary, and you guys are all invited to heal.
Oh my God, girl. Thank you. Thank you
course.
so much.
Of course.
This is definitely the best podcast ever.
You're welcome. I told you. Thank you so much. Thank you. God bless you.